Yo, listen up. We're about to go deep into the life of Daemon Targaryen, and let me tell you, this dude is something else. He's like that one cousin at the family reunion who everybody's talking about, but for completely different reasons. Some folks think he's the coolest thing since sliced bread, while others are like, nah, keep that man away from me. George R.R. Martin, the mastermind behind this whole story, says Daemon's made of light and darkness in equal parts. That's some deep stuff right there. It's like saying he's half angel, half demon, and you never know which side you're gonna get. So buckle up, because we're about to unpack all the layers of this complex character. Now let's break down who Daemon actually is in this Targaryen family tree. This man ain't just any regular Joe. He's straight up royalty, prince of House Targaryen. But that's not all. Homie's got a dragon. Yeah, you heard me right. He's one of them dragon riders, soaring through the sky on a beast that could barbecue a whole army. And if that wasn't enough to make him a certified badass, Daemon's also a master with a sword. We're talking skills that would make even the toughest warriors think twice before stepping to him. So right from the jump, we gotta understand that Daemon's working with a whole lot of power and privilege. It's like he was born with a golden ticket, but instead of a chocolate factory, he got a kingdom and a dragon. Now let's talk about Daemon's charm game, cause it's strong, y'all. This man walks into a room and all eyes are on him. He's got that swagger that makes people sit up and take notice. It's like he's got his own gravitational pull or something. Daemon's the type of dude who could talk his way out of a tight spot and make you thank him for it afterward. He's daring too, always ready to take risks that would have most folks shaking in their boots. It's this mix of charm and courage that has people all over Westeros looking at him like he's the second coming. Some folks are straight up in awe of him, hanging on his every word and action. It's like he's got this natural charisma that just draws people in whether they want to be drawn in or not. But don't get it twisted. Daemon ain't all charm and smiles. When it comes to being ruthless, this man takes it to a whole new level. Let me paint a picture for y'all. Imagine being in King's Landing, minding your own business, when suddenly Daemon and his gold cloaks come rolling through like a tornado. We're talking pure chaos in the streets. Dude led a raid that had everyone shook, and he didn't even try to hide it. Nah, he made it a spectacle, like he wanted everyone to see what he was capable of. It was his way of saying, this is what happens when you cross me or mine. That raid showed a side of Daemon that had people realizing this prince ain't just about looking pretty and riding dragons. He's got a dark side that's as real as it gets, and he ain't afraid to let it out. Now let's talk about Daemon and his big bro Viserys, cause that relationship is more complicated than a Rubik's Cube. These two grew up tight, with Viserys basically raising Daemon after their mom passed. It's like Viserys became both a brother and a father figure to Daemon. That's the kind of bond that runs deep. You feel me? But with all that closeness comes a whole lot of baggage. Daemon's always looking for Viserys to give him that nod, that I see you, I'm proud of you moment. It's like he's still that little kid trying to impress his big brother even when they're both grown men. This need for approval shapes a lot of what Daemon does, for better or worse. It's the kind of family dynamic that'll have you saying, feel you bro, 1 minute, and what are you thinking, the next. But here's where it gets real messy. Daemon might love his brother, but he ain't blind to Viserys' flaws. In Daemon's eyes, Viserys is softer than a pillow when it comes to being king. He sees his brother sitting on that iron throne and thinks, nah, that ain't how a Targaryen should rule. Daemon's all about that fire and blood life, while Viserys is trying to keep the peace and make everyone happy. This difference in how they see the world and how a king should act, it's like oil and water, man. It creates this tension between them that's always bubbling under the surface. And it pushes Daemon to do things to prove that his way, the hard way, is the right way to rule. It's like he's constantly trying to show Viserys, this is how a real Targaryen handles business. Speaking of being a real Targaryen, let me tell you, Daemon takes that stuff seriously. In his mind, he's not just wearing the name, he's living it, breathing it every single day. When Daemon thinks about what it means to be a Targaryen, he's not picturing someone sitting around making nice with the nobles. Nah, he's thinking dragons, conquest, and pure unleashed power. It's like he's got fire and blood tattooed on his soul. This man embraces the Targaryen legacy like it's his personal mission in life. He's not just talking about it, he's out there trying to live it every day. And let me tell you, that mindset, it leads to some wild decisions and even wilder consequences. It's like he's always asking himself, what would Aegon the Conqueror do? And then doing that, no matter how crazy it might seem to everyone else. Now let's break down Daemon's relationship with Rhaenyra, because that's a whole different level of complicated. At first, it's like he's the cool uncle, showing her the ropes, teaching her how to be a true Targaryen. But then things start to shift, and suddenly it's not so simple anymore. Their bond becomes this mix of mentor and student, rivals for the throne, and then boom, there's romance in the picture too. It's like every time you think you've got their relationship figured out, it takes another turn. And when Rhaenyra becomes queen, that adds a whole new layer to the mess. Daemon's gotta balance his love for her with his own ideas about power and how things should be run. It's like watching a high-stakes dance where nobody knows all the steps, and one wrong move could bring the whole thing crashing down. Alright, let's talk about Daemon's ego, because this man's confidence is on another level. Imagine walking around knowing you're royalty. You can ride a dragon, and you could probably beat most people in a sword fight. That's Daemon's daily life. And trust, it goes to his head. He moves through the world like he's untouchable. Like the regular rules don't apply to him. And in many ways, they don't. Who's gonna check a dude who could call down dragonfire if he gets mad? This sense of being above it all, it's like fuel for Daemon. It pushes him to take risks, break rules, and sometimes straight up hurt people. In his mind, he's a Targaryen prince. He can do what he wants, when he wants, and everybody else better just deal with it. But here's the thing about Daemon. Underneath all that swagger and dragonfire, there's a part of him that's fragile as glass. This man's got an ego that needs constant feeding. You feel me? He's always looking for that pat on the back, that recognition. And when he doesn't get it, man, watch out. Remember that scene where he choked Rhaenyra? That wasn't just about anger, that was his ego taking a hit. Finding out Viserys never shared that prophecy with him. In Daemon's mind, that's like his brother saying, "You were never good enough." And he can't handle that. It's like he's got this hole inside him that he's always trying to fill with power, recognition, whatever he can get his hands on. But no matter what he does, it's never quite enough. Now this is where things get real tricky with Daemon. On one hand, he's all about that family loyalty. He loves his people in his own messed up way. But on the other hand, he's got this idea in his head about what it means to be a Targaryen, and sometimes that clashes hard with what his family's actually doing. It's like he's constantly caught between these two forces. He wants to support his fam, but he also wants them to live up to this crazy high standard he's set. And when they don't, that's when Daemon starts acting out. He'll go against his own blood if he thinks they're not being Targaryen enough. It's like he's trying to play two different games at the same time, and it keeps blowing up in his face. Yo, we gotta talk about the blood and cheese incident, cause that right there shows you just how far Daemon's willing to go. This wasn't just some petty revenge, this was next level cruelty. Without getting into all the gory details, let's just say Daemon orchestrated something so messed up it had the whole realm shook. It wasn't just about getting even, it was about sending a message, loud and clear. This moment right here, it's like a big flashing sign saying, "Don't mess with Daemon Targaryen." It shows you that when this man feels wronged, there's no line he won't cross, no act too brutal. It's the kind of thing that makes you step back and really question everything you thought you knew about him. Now here's where it gets interesting. Despite all the messed up stuff Daemon does, a lot of people still don't see him as a straight up villain. Nah, he falls more into that anti-hero category. You know, the type of character you're not sure if you should root for or against. And that's because Daemon isn't just evil for the sake of being evil. Everything he does, no matter how twisted, comes from somewhere real. Maybe it's his love for his family, or his idea of what a Targaryen should be, or his need to prove himself. And every now and then, just when you're ready to write him off, he'll do something that shows he's got a heart in there somewhere. It's these glimpses of humanity mixed in with all the chaos that keep you on your toes with Daemon. Let's be real, without Daemon, the whole story of House of the Dragon would be a lot less interesting. This man is like the match that lights the fuse, you feel me? His actions, his relationships, the way he moves through the world. All of it sets off chain reactions that shape the whole plot. Think about it. His beef with Otto Hightower, his complicated relationship with Rhaenyra, the way he challenges Viserys' rule. All of these things are like dominoes, each one knocking into the next, creating this big, messy, fascinating story. Daemon isn't just a character in the tale, he's a driving force. Love him or hate him, you can't deny that when Daemon's on the scene, things happen. 15. So let's wrap this up. Daemon Targaryen, man, he's like fire itself. Powerful, unpredictable, capable of bringing warmth or destroying everything in his path. One minute, he's the charming prince. The next, he's orchestrating some of the most brutal acts in Westerosi history. He loves his family, but he'll go against them in a heartbeat if he thinks they're not living up to the Targaryen name. He's got the skills and the swagger to back up his attitude, but deep down, he's still that kid looking for his big brother's approval. Daemon's the kind of character that keeps you guessing, keeps you engaged, even when you want to look away. In a world of dragons and magic, he stands out as one of the most complex and compelling figures. Love him or hate him, you can't ignore him. And that, my friends, is the essence of Daemon Targaryen. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more cool content. Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Thanks for watching and catch you next time.